Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. We're going to talk about September, the week of September 25th. Man, month end already. There you go. September 25th. This is for the week of, all right? I know this chart just says September 25th because this is the day of. But if you look at the fine print there, yeah, up there it says the whole week of. Because we're going to take a peek at the rate that these planets move. And so now we've been doing this for a couple of months now, I think. And by now you probably have an understanding about the speed of the planets, right? So the first one up is going to be the moon. And on this chart, on this day, we see that the moon is down here in the sign of Aquarius. Okay? We're going to actually go blue, I think. Yep, we're going to go blue. Sign of Aquarius. Now, remember, the moon is our emotions. It's our feelings. It's our home. It's our family. It's our history. It's our tribe, our ancestry. It's feminine energy, and that's the minutia. That's on the detail. If you take it to a large scale, the moon is the public. The public. It's that whole my family, mom, dad, siblings, my children, that whole thing. But then who's your bigger family? Humanity, the moon. Now, the moon moves. What did we say in the last video? Every 2 hours, it moves 1 degree. So in 7 days' time, I'm actually going to grab a hold of the moon. I've got it up here. So in 7 days' time, this moon, it's going to go and it's going to spend 2.5 days in the sign of Pisces, then 2.5 days in the sign of Aries. Sorry, my finger got in the way. And then it's going to end up in the sign of, is it going to be in Taurus or Gemini? Yeah, you're right. It started midway through Aquarius. So yeah, we're at about 19 degrees in Taurus for the moon. Okay, so that's in 7 days' time. So you're talking in 1 week, that would be October 2nd, the moon will be here. So the moon is your family, your feelings, and your emotions. So it starts off in a fixed sign and ends up in a fixed sign, right? So as that moon travels through these signs, what did we learn? It's what feels emotionally stabilizing. It's about our emotional needs and our emotional security. Some people need, Pisces, let's do it by example. Fantasy, sci-fi, music, theater, pretend, prayer, meditation, sacrifice. This is all the Pisces keywords, okay? Some of them. Aries, all of a sudden, this becomes like, this is all about me, me, and self, my physical body, my appearance, my assertions, the freedom of my body, the freedom of my actions, and how I identify. Aries energy. There's more words, but that's just some of them. If you know more, if you have words that I haven't put in, add them in the comments below. Please join in. And then it goes to Taurus, peace loving Taurus, money, my securities, my creature comforts, my comfort foods, my comfy chair, my comfy blanket. How is it that you feel comfort? What is it that you need in your life to feel comforted? Taurus is an earth sign. That's why you heard me say food, right? So there are certain ways that we feel nurtured and comforted, and it changes as the moon floats through each of the signs. So, you've heard of like how their mood may swing, right? So when the moon is in Pisces, Pisces is high levels of sensitivities, intuitions, right? Aries is impatient. It's fiery, might even be a little irritable. It might seem a little assertive and maybe possibly aggressive. Peace loving Taurus, calm as a rock, peace and stable. One of the things I will mention with the moon on September 25th is that if it's in Aquarius, we know that opposite of Aquarius is Venus and Juno. So that's like this opposition, right? Strong energy. These are about taking a risk, about fun and fantasy, possibly, or drama and pretend, theatrical even. It's Leo, likes a lot of color, flair. Leo is all about the flair, right? So Leo energy likes to play and laugh, have a good time and jokes, right? Likes to joke around. So some could say that Venus may take a gamble with her values, with her money, but even because Venus rules desires. And if it's traveling with Juno, which it is, it's kind of like people might be focused on partnerships here, but this is a playful partnership. This isn't necessarily long term. It's like, well, who do I have a good time with? Who makes me laugh, or who do I laugh with? Who plays the way that I like to play? Romance, mating, dating, relating. Venus conjunct Juno. So if you've got some people reaching out to you, which I've heard a couple of people say, and well, yeah. We've mentioned things about possibly people from the past, or maybe people just out of the blue, reaching out. And it's like, okay, what the hell is this about? You're reaching out of the blue. Why? Well, because look, at 20 degrees, remember, Uranus is at 22 in Taurus. So this could be somebody older, masculine energy. It's a square. So if they're reaching out, it might not feel good, might be a little awkward, but shocks and surprises because it's Uranus, right? Anytime something begins with Uranus energy, remember, it's temporary, it's a thrill, it's a one night stand, even if it goes for a few nights or a few months, it's not long term. Okay. There's never the advice to be like, yeah, just understand it for what it is, especially when it squares Venus, who wants just to have a good time, wants to be a little wine and dined and entertainment, right? Yeah, that's what this energy is. So depending upon where you are in your life and what you're looking forward to, or what you need, what your needs and desires are. Remember, Venus is how I receive. It's one of the keywords. It's not just values and desires, but how I receive. So it's about my value, my self worth, right? And so that all comes down to what we will accept from someone in our life, right? Like the offering that somebody may make. You get it? Whatever that offering might be, whatever sort of a deal, or whatever sort of a bone they're wagging in front of us, right? So I'm just bringing that up because the moon is opposing right now at this time on this chart. It's at 13. So it's, remember, every 2 hours it moves a degree. So there might be things that become a little heightened at some points when this moon gets to 20 degrees, because then that means it'll be a tight T square with Uranus and Venus and Juno. It's temporary as hell. The moon's going to move. It's not a long term thing. People are impulsive. And here's the thing about this T square: Venus rules Taurus, which means desire over here and desire over here. So we got Venus two ways in the chart, angling. Yeah. Now we're going to move on and let's go to the sun sign. Let's expand upon it. The sun is at 2 degrees, 34 minutes in Libra. That's a cardinal sign. It's cardinal air. If you don't know what cardinal and air mean, don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. Cardinal, though, does like to take action. So when the sun is in Libra, other than the fact that we already have Mars there, and Mars is thinking about relationships, it's not going to be like, Mars isn't going to be as assertive when it's in Libra. I've spent a lot of time already talking about that. But when the sun enters Libra, it will energize the Libran qualities and traits and characteristics. So what is that? Partnership energy. Who do I want to partner up with? This is masculine energy. In general, the sun is masculine. Libra's ruler is Venus. I know Venus is popping up in a lot of ways in these times, right? Venus rules Libra. Yes, she also rules Taurus. So, right, we're getting a lot of Venus energy going on here. But the sun will add energy, will add its energy. And this becomes where we shine our light and what we focus on. So it's about partnerships, business and personal. So marriage and business partners, possibly both for some folks, right? The sun is going to move 1 degree a day. So it goes from 2 degrees, add 7. So it's at 9. So we're going to leave the sun, place it right here, 9 degrees. Okay. So it focuses on relationships. Okay. We're going to take a peek at this time to see what does this sun angle? Is it going to be angling anything? Well, technically, if the sun is over here at 9, cardinal energy would be Cancer energy at 9. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 degrees, and Capricorn 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 degrees. There's nothing there by transit, but you might have something in your chart, and that would be a T square or a square for you. Okay. I know this might sound like I'm going fast, and I apologize. Stop the video at any point in time, rewind it, watch it as many times as you need, and take it at your own pace. The sun squaring. Remember, it's not such a huge event because the sun moves pretty darn fast. But what about the opposition to Libra? Here's where it gets interesting. The opposition to Libra is going to be Aries, and that's fiery. So we know as the sun travels from 2 to 7, I'm putting this here like this, because this could create the strong opposition to a lot of us. And there's a lot of energy down here in Aries. Remember, these are the transits. So we've got the sun opposing Aries. Aries is self. Libra is partnerships, relationships, but Aries is like, hey, what about me? I got to do me. I got to do what's right for me, right? That's Aries energy. It says, take a look at me. I count, and I'm going to be thinking and considering myself first and foremost. That's Aries energy. It does that really well. All right. It's also your body and your appearance, your location, and taking actions with your body. But the sun opposing, just look in your chart. It's not a big deal. It's just an opposition. So there might be like a little bit of the teeter totter push pull energy with the opposition, which means things about myself and things within my partnership. Okay. So by transit, we have Selena here. You see Selena here? She's goddess of the sea. She has rose-colored glasses. She's like the consort to Neptune, they're next to each other in this chart. They're not exactly close to each other. They're in two different signs. Okay. This is at 8. This is at 26 in Pisces. But these two are very similar. One is Neptune and the other is Selena. It's a seashell. Yeah, Selena. So we might be a little delusional about our appearance and about how we perceive ourselves, because that's what Selena does. She puts on the rose colored glasses. It's watery energy, so it can make things confusing. So we might be struggling. We might be questioning. Or when the sun throws that opposition at 8 degrees, right? Which it will by the end of that week. And plus, you may have something in your chart between 2 and 7 degrees in Aries. And if you do, then there's just like the light is on. There's a focus between myself and who I am and how I present, and do I count in a relationship. Remember, the opposition is Libra. So it's always like, do I have a say in this relationship? How do I show up in this relationship? Do I count in this relationship? Is what what's important to me? Is it part of the conversations in our relationship? Is our relationship really about we? Right? And so there just might be some of that, right? Because there's more of a focus on relationships now. So then we move on, and there's Mercury. I got Mercury right there at 15. She hasn't moved super fast, right? But she's now at 15, and we're waiting. We're waiting for her to get to 22. Because for a lot of us, we've been trying to make decisions, right? We've been trying to be like, okay, what about a job? What about a move? A lot of decisions and choices and documents and options and things that are important. And we want to make sure that we are seeing things clearly. So when we have Mercury in Virgo, Mercury's strong in Virgo by nature because it rules Virgo energy. But because it's still within the retrograde shadow zone, we would technically, the teaching is to wait until it's past the 22-degree mark, and that's at the end of September. So in 7 days' time, where will Mercury be? She'll still be in Virgo energy, and she will be at 25 degrees and 30 minutes. So I'm going to put Mercury over here. She's past the 22-degree mark. Oh, I'm sorry. Because in 7 days' time, it'll be October. So that's correct. I was thinking, wait a minute, how did she get to 25? Because this is October 5th or October 2nd that Mercury is, that all these planets, all these transits I've drawn in, these are all 7 days out. So Mercury will be at 25 by then. So by the 30th, she gets to the 22 degrees, and that's the green light, right? That's the green light for those of you who have been waiting, who've had decisions to make. What I will say here that's important, let me move a line here, is when Mercury got to that 22 degrees, do you see what she was trining? Because when she got there on the 30th, she was trining Uranus, which is like, whoa, it's a surprise. It screams excitement, something new. With our values, remember, Venus rules this. So it's something that's valuable to me, something that's important. Can be the money in the bank, can be the earth, your creature comforts. Who and what do you need for your creature comforts? What does your world look like? Home, work, family, partnerships. What does that look like for you? This is this energy here. And Mercury's getting a green light. Mercury's trining. Mercury is information and communication. Mercury brings news. So possibly something new for those of you who have something at 22 degrees or near those degrees, right? 2-degree orb, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 in Virgo and in Taurus and Capricorn. And Capricorn, let's draw that in. Matter of fact, even this chart has something. This chart has a house cusp line at 25. So we're just going to say that if you've got something at those degrees, you might be hearing something that might be beneficial. And that would be beautiful for you. That would be a go and a green light. And so that's happy news. That's like, yay. Now let's go to Venus. Where's Venus going to be? In this chart, we know where Venus is because we've talked about it already. Venus is at 20 degrees. I've got her drawn in here. 20 degrees with Juno, right? So Venus is going to move. In 7 days' time, where does Venus go? She's not a really fast mover. She's still in the sign of Leo. So I'm going to put her over here at like 23 degrees. 23 degrees is where Venus is going to be. Okay. She is still conjunct Juno. Juno moves a little bit slower than Venus. So Juno's going to be like at 22. So they're still together. And that's in 7 days' time. So what does that tell us? That tells us that Venus is now pulling away because she'll be like at 23 going on 24. So she's pulling away from that new exciting thing in Uranus. So it's a green light, but is it a long-term green light? That's the question we're asking. Okay. So you got to have things in your natal chart that are supportive, that show that you have stability. Okay. Because this is a momentary green light. During this time, though, we do have this same Venus sending still strong trine energy to all the Aries stuff. Aries energy. There's a lot in Aries by transit in the 20s here. You see all this? We've got the North Node at 25. Now Venus is conjunct that North Node, or I'm saying trining it in a strong way at 25 degrees. And Eris is there as well. So it's all really positive energy. It's all very much about let's take action, let's do something new. And the North Node looks like that horseshoe shape. The North Node represents our future. It's where we're headed, and it has to do with our body, possibly the location of your body. It comes down to what area in your chart that this energy is located in. So whenever you're looking these signs up in these degrees, I want you to grab your chart and look. Take a peek and see what house number it's in. So for example, in this chart, if the Venus is trining the North Node and it's in the 6th house, this is part of someone's daily routines. It has a domestic vibration to it, which means it can be neighbors, coworkers, siblings, someone that we're familiar with, a peer, right? Someone who isn't so shockingly different or new or brand new, even though there's something new about this. You feel what I'm saying? It's like it's kind of like you know how when the seasons change? You've got like the spring, the fall, the winter, and so the next season comes around again and you're like, "Oh, It's winter time now, right? So I can put on the winter outfit that I haven't worn since last winter. It's not new, but it feels like new in a way, you see? But yet it's familiar. You've worn it before. You've seen it before. But because there's been some time in between, it kind of has that new feeling, that new sense to it. So Venus in Leo sends strong supportive energy for this because it's trining the North Node. 22, 23, 24, right? This is a big deal. This to me says it's a big deal because Venus will be involved with it. Venus will be involved. You follow? Venus is part of that, and Juno. And the node's going to go down in numbers, which means it goes to 24, 23, 22, 21. But lo and behold, Venus will clear all of that. She starts pulling away. She moves way faster than the moon's nodes. This is a much slower mover. Matter of fact, this moon's node will get to around 23 and 22 degrees, 22 to 23 degrees. The last part of 2023, that north node kind of just dances around there. It bounces back and forth. In Libra, still in the relationship energy. In 7 days' time, because Mars is not fast, Mars moves and it will be now at 23. And now this is a thing. This is October 2nd, and Mars has reached a point, and I would dare say for some of you, absolutely September 30th. I can't remember. Are there 31 days in September? I don't think there is. October 1st, October 2nd, this Mars is conjunct the South Node. It's close enough where you guys are feeling it. It can be a big, massive relief and release. It can be that. That release may bring a relief for you. And it's in partnerships. Now, depending upon where your Libra energy is, tells us the where this release happens in your life. Why a release? Because that's what the South Node represents, a release. Now, let me move this out of the way so I can give you an example. This one is in the 12th house. This is the subconscious. This is the subconscious realm. This is dreams and fantasy. Maybe somebody had a fantastical idea or some sort of a belief, 12th house, some sort of a belief, fantasy even, about who their ideal partner is or about a relationship that they're currently in. And they may believe, oh, I don't know, maybe there's like the rose colored glasses come off, because that is also 12th house energy, the rose colored glasses. So all of a sudden, when Mars is there with the South Node, Mars can help trigger a release of some sort. And so, being that Mars isn't real strong, it shouldn't be something that comes as like, you know, a deranged kind of uh you caught someone by surprise and now the relationship is over type of thing. I'm not necessarily anticipating that at this time, right? But for some folks, obviously, depending upon your chart, those could be some things that happen for people. But let's not forget, Libra energy is also business partnerships. There is a video up on the channel about this conjunction already. Okay. I will try to make sure I link it below. One last thing I wanted to add about Mars and the South Node, matter of fact, is that the South Node at 25 and Mars being there is something called a quincunx energy. And the quincunx energy to Mars is going to be to Neptune. Okay. Because Neptune is like at 26 here. And Mars is going up in numbers, right? Because that's how Mars moves. So Neptune can deplete our energy, and Mars is our body. So this is kind of going into next week's video. So I'm going to not say anything more about that. We'll spend a little bit more time on that in a deep dive for next week. But I just wanted you to see that. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.